Chioma and Ekene had been married for 5 years, but anyone who visited their home would hardly believe it. There was no warmth between them, no laughter, no teamwork, just sharp tongues, eye rolls, and an endless stream of mockery, especially from Chioma. Years ago, they met in the most unusual of ways. Chioma had come to the bank where Ekene worked as a customer service officer, angry that a debit alert had wiped her account. He had calmly explained the situation and even helped her retrieve the money. She admired his patience and calmness, while he admired her confidence and elegance. Their courtship was short but sweet. Ekene was a gentleman, very quiet, respectful, and generous in small but meaningful ways. He wasn't rich though, but he was focused. While Chioma, on the other hand, was fiery and outspoken. She was raised in a house where her mother constantly mocked her father for being a church rat with no swag. So, Chioma grew up equating gentleness with weakness. When Ekene proposed, her friends teased her. "This one that looks like an usher in church, are you sure he has any future?" But Chioma insisted that she saw potential in him, and for the first 2 years of their marriage, she pretended to be content until the change gradually came. It all started when Ekene lost his banking job due to downsizing. Chioma supported him briefly, but soon she began to nag. "So, I should be the breadwinner while you sit at home rubbing your chin. I married a man, no, not a furniture." Even when he started working for a logistic company as a supervisor, she still mocked his uniform. "Just look at you. My friends' husbands wear suits and drive Benz, while my own is a delivery man." And even when he tried to pay part of the rent or bought groceries for the house, she would hiss, "How much, Kwanu? You bought only 5 loaves of bread and 1 tin of milk and you're feeling like Dangote." At this point, it was no longer a news that Chioma was very disrespectful to her husband, as Ekene's uncle had told him on different occasions to go bring back her bride price. But he refused, hoping that she would change. But Chioma never did. Instead, she got worse. One morning, Ekene sat at the dining table, eating the boiled yam and egg sauce he had prepared. Chioma emerged from the bedroom and frowned. "Yam again? Are you not tired of living like a village goat who can't take his eyes off yam?" Ekene looked up slowly. "Good morning, Chioma." "Don't good morning me. Every day yam and egg, yam and egg. Do I look like I came from poverty to marry poverty? Even my ex-boyfriend in school eats better than this now." Ekene said nothing and just continued eating slowly. Now, this made Chioma irritated the more. So, she snatched the plate and dumped it in the sink. "When I married you, I thought you would at least try to be something. But it's been 5 years now. No house, no car, nothing. Just a big head and zero ambition." Ekene looked at her calmly. "If you are not happy, what is keeping you here? Don't insult me, oh. I only married you out of pity," Chioma snapped. Ekene had heard worse from Chioma, so at this point, nothing she said moved him anymore, or so he thought, until that evening when she said something that cut his body, spirit, and soul into pieces. They were having a heated argument about a missing charger, and with the whole back and forth, Chioma screamed loud enough for the whole compound to hear. "You are an animal, Ekene. You don't think, you don't act, you just exist." The compound fell silent, and Ekene stood there staring at her. He didn't show any sign of anger, but deep inside, his heart was bleeding painfully. He didn't say a word. He just went in, packed a small bag, walked out of the flat that night and didn't return for 2 days. Chioma thought he was bluffing. What she didn't know was that those words, "you are an animal," would become her curse. Chioma barely noticed when Ekene began to change. At first, she assumed it was another one of his silent treatments. He was always the quiet type, who never argued for too long and never raised his voice. But this time, something was different. When he returned after disappearing for 2 days, he looked calmer, too calm. He walked into the house like a visitor, went straight to the bedroom, picked up a few more clothes and asked one question. "Do you still want this marriage, Chioma?" Chioma scoffed. "If you are waiting for me to beg you, you will wait till Jesus returns." Ekene nodded, said nothing and walked out again. 2 days later, Chioma was in a salon with her best friend Ngozi, gossiping as usual. "Abeg, leave that man, Joe. He thinks keeping quiet on me will make him mysterious. Meanwhile, he's just a broke animal." Ngozi sipped her drink and grinned. "You are trying, oh. Me? I no fit marry man wey no get level. Is he still wearing that same brown shoe?" Chioma laughed loudly. Even the shoe is tired of him at this point. However, while Chioma laughed in the salon, Ekene sat in a meeting room at a high-rise office on the island. His friend Tunde had just made him co-owner in a tech startup. It had been in the works for over a year, and Ekene had silently invested his small savings and done back-end work, research, coding and writing proposals. Now, it was finally paying off. Their company had just signed a deal with a major telecom company and they were about to go public with the news. Ekene looked at the contract in front of him, signed it and smiled faintly. Now, let the real animal begin to roll. Meanwhile, Chioma started to notice some strange things. Ekene no longer called or texted her. Even when he came home, he no longer asked for food or complained about her lateness. He stopped arguing when she went out to clubs with her friend, and he began locking his phone too. One day, she returned from an outing and found him dressed in a navy blue kaftan, spraying perfume. He had bought new shoes, branded and classy shoes. She blinked. "Where are you going to dress like that? The naming ceremony of your fellow delivery boys?" Ekene looked at her and smiled softly. "I am going somewhere your mind can't reach." She rolled her eyes and waved him off dismissively. A week later, Ekene's elder sister, Auntie Martha, came visiting. She took one look at Chioma and shook her head. "So, you are still doing your drama, Abi?" Chioma sighed. "Please, Auntie, if you came here to defend your baby brother, I came here to warn you," Auntie Martha interrupted. "You think you are smart, but you don't know you are playing with a man who is steps ahead of you. When the ground finally opens, you won't see it coming." But Chioma hissed and walked out on her. That evening, Ekene didn't return home and Chioma didn't care until 2 days later when her friend Ngozi sent her a link on WhatsApp. "Babes, is this not your husband on the news?" Chioma opened it and froze. Young Nigeria startup founders sign major deal with techno giants. There was Ekene in a suit, shaking hands with executives, standing beside his co-founder Tunde. Chioma read it over and over again, as if to confirm she was not dreaming. She called his number, but it was switched off. She called again and still the same thing. She dropped her phone and slowly sat on the floor, powerless and speechless. Chioma didn't sleep that night. She kept replaying the news video over and over. Ekene's posture, his smile, and the confident way he spoke into the camera. "We are proud to provide innovative tech solutions made in Nigeria for Nigerians." This didn't look like acting. It wasn't a fluke. Ekene had money, real money. She called again, but it was still switched off. So she sent messages, very long ones. Babe, I saw the video. I am so proud of you. I always knew you had it in you. She got no reply. Still, she sent another one. Can we talk? Please come back home. I cooked your favorite soup. Still, she got no reply. She even went ahead and posted his picture on her WhatsApp status with a caption, "Proud of my king." After waiting for 3 days with no reply from Ekene, Chioma dressed up in her finest attire like a first lady and headed to the address listed in the article. She walked into the tall building and found herself surrounded by class, AC chills, and receptionist attitudes. She stepped up to the front desk. "I am here to see Mr. Ekene Obiora. I am his wife." The receptionist checked the appointment list and shook her head. "Sorry ma, his schedule is full today. Do you have an appointment?" "I am his wife, your madam," Chioma shouted. Just then, Tunde, Ekene's co-founder, walked past, recognized her and shook his head with a sarcastic smile. "Ah, Madam Chioma, longest time." Chioma turned to him. "Tunde, please tell him I am here. It is very urgent." Tunde looked her up and down. "He doesn't want to see you." "Excuse me? You said he was an animal, right? Well, the animal has built a kingdom and animals don't entertain clowns." He walked away before she could even respond, and Chioma stood there trembling in humiliation. When she returned home that evening, she found her belongings scattered at the entrance of the house and her key no longer worked. Ekene must have come to reclaim the house. She sat on the floor and cried for a very long time. She remembered a night long ago when Ekene had come home exhausted. He had asked her to help rub his back, but she rolled her eyes and said, "What am I, your housemaid?" That night, he told her, "One day, Chioma, you will wish you treated me better." Oh. But she had laughed in his face. Now, those words echoed in her ears like thunder. Chioma called her friend Ngozi. "Please, can I stay at your place for a while?" "Ah, babe, you know my landlord doesn't like visitors." She called her cousin next, only to get rejected too. "Chioma, you are married now. I can't be housing another man's wife. Oh. My husband no go like him." And so, she ended up spending the night at a cheap hotel, crying into a pillow. A week later, Chioma went to stalk Ekene at his office again. This time, she saw him coming out with Adaeze, a beautiful young woman she vaguely recognized from their church long ago. They were both laughing. Chioma hid behind a pillar and watched as Ekene helped Adaeze into the car. He even opened the door like a gentleman, something he used to do for Chioma before she mocked him into stopping. Chioma couldn't breathe. For the first time in her life, she felt like the side chick, rejected, irrelevant, and invisible. She stayed at the hotel for 3 days mourning her loss, but then, on the 4th morning, she sat up, wiped her face and said, "No, he's still my husband. I won't let one village girl collect what I suffered for." She picked her phone and called Auntie Gladys, Ekene's favorite aunt in Enugu. "Auntie, it is me, Chioma. Please, I need your help. Ekene has changed. There is a strange woman. I think he's been manipulated by her." Auntie Gladys was shocked. "Manipulated? Ekene?" "Yes, ma. I have been a good wife. Oh, I don't know what is happening. He just changed." Auntie Gladys agreed to call him. 2 days later, Ekene showed up at Chioma's hotel room with Auntie Gladys. As soon as she saw him, she quickly knelt down, crying and holding his legs. "Ekene, I am sorry. Please forgive me. I was stupid. I didn't know what I had." Auntie Gladys nodded. Biko, Ekene, she's your wife. You people can settle. This is not a good look. Ekene stood silently for a long time before saying, Auntie, I respect you, but you see this woman here? She finished me before the world knew who I was. People change, Chioma shouted. I have changed, please. Ekene turned to her. You insulted me in public. You called me an animal. You laughed when I had nothing. Now I have something, and you want to pretend like love lived here? Chioma shook her head, crying. I was foolish. I admit it, please. Let's start over. Ekene looked at her one last time and said calmly, You are not sorry, Chioma. You are just scared that the animal started to roar without you. He walked out and Auntie Gladys followed slowly. That night, Chioma called Ngozi again. He's falling for another woman. I can feel it. What should I do? Ngozi, who was always a devil's advisor, said, Trap him with pregnancy or threaten him with shame. Go to his church, cry, embarrass him everywhere, force his hand. Chioma nodded slowly. That is it. On Sunday, Ekene and Adaeze were sitting together in church. The sermon had just begun when Chioma stormed in wearing white wrapper and walking bare feet like a widow. She dropped on her knees in front of the altar and wailed, Pastor, help me! My husband has left me for a strange woman. They have used charm on him. The entire church turned, but Ekene sat still while Adaeze was embarrassed. The pastor called her to the side. Madam, please, let's not disgrace ourselves in the house of God. But Chioma screamed louder. He's my husband. She's a nobody. She can't replace me. At that point, Ekene stood up and took the microphone calmly. This is my legal wife, yes, but for 5 years, she abused, humiliated and tormented me. You may not believe it, but God saw it. He turned to Chioma. This display you are doing, it won't lead you anywhere. If you had loved me in secret, I would have honored you in public. With that, he dropped the mic and walked out. Back at the hotel, Chioma collapsed on the floor shaking. She had no job, no money and no house. Even her makeup business was drying up. Customers now gossiped about her. Isn't that the woman that chased her rich husband away? For the first time, Chioma understood what humiliation really meant. But karma wasn't done yet, because soon she would experience more. Weeks later, Chioma was scrolling through Instagram mindlessly when her finger froze. There it was, a shiny white and gold card. Hashtag Adaike 2025. It is official. It was posted by one of her old church members, and the caption read, True love always wins. Can't wait to witness this beautiful union. Chioma blinked. She zoomed into the image and saw the worst. The bride-to-be was Adaeze, while the groom was Ekene, her own Ekene, the man she married, the man she mocked, the man she lost. Her mouth went dry as she checked the comments. Power couple goals, so classy, so calm, so blessed. Now this same Ekene now, which Chioma bin dey call animal. Just then, her phone rang. It was her mother calling. Bia Chioma, Ekene has come to collect his bride price. Oh, he said you two are no longer married. What is happening? Chioma froze. But just when she thought she had seen and heard it all, the doorbell rang. It was a delivery guy who had a letter for her. She collected it but slumped into the bed when she read it. Divorce papers? Ekene was divorcing her? She dropped the paper, shaking and breathing heavily. Then she screamed, Over my dead body. She dressed up in a hurry and went straight to Ekene's office without an appointment. Security tried to stop her, but she screamed, I am his wife. I will scatter this building today. Tunde had to come downstairs. "Madam, you again?" But Chioma pushed him aside and stormed in. Ekene was in a meeting with clients, so he calmly excused himself and stepped into the hallway. "Chioma, what is it this time?" "Wedding? You are marrying that lizard when I am still alive." "You are alive, yes, but our marriage is dead and over. I'm sure you already got the divorce papers. You think I will let this happen, Ekene? You want to embarrass me in front of the whole world after 5 years I wasted on you?" Ekene looked at her squarely. "You didn't waste 5 years on me, Chioma. You wasted 5 years mocking me. There is a huge difference." He turned and walked away, but Chioma screamed behind him, "I swear I will ruin that wedding. I will bring fire." Back in her hotel room, Chioma made plans. It is time to teach that village girl a lesson. She planned to crash the wedding, to scatter it with drama, or maybe even fake a pregnancy. But that would not be possible because she had not let Ekene touch her in almost 1 year. 3 days later, a courier delivered a card to Chioma's hotel room. She opened it slowly and her name was printed on the card. "You are cordially invited to the traditional wedding of Ekene Obiora and Adaeze Nwachukwu." At the bottom read, "Dress code white and gold. Venue, Landmark Event Center, Lagos." She stared at the words, shaking. Ekene invited her on purpose. That evening, Auntie Martha came to visit Chioma at the hotel. "You got the invitation, Abi? Good." "Auntie, why are you people mocking me? Why?" "Because you mocked him first. You were given a king and you treated him like a goat. Now you will watch another woman wear the crown beside him." Chioma fell to her knees. "Please, Auntie, talk to him for me. Just postpone it. Let me fix it. I'll do anything." Auntie Martha shook her head. "You can't fix what you broke with your mouth, Chioma. Sometimes Karma wears a wedding gown too." She dropped a gold lace fabric on the bed. "If you still want to attend, at least look decent. Don't disgrace yourself further." Then she walked out. Finally, the day for the wedding came and Landmark Event Center was decorated into something out of a royal fantasy. Adaeze sat in the bridal suit, calm but slightly nervous. Her makeup was soft. Her red lace gown was stunning. Behind her, Auntie Martha helped adjust her beads. "You deserve this moment, my dear. Don't let anyone steal it." Adaeze nodded. "Thank you, ma." Meanwhile, Ekene stood by the mirror adjusting his white agbada. Tunde leaned over and said, "Your ex-wife will show up today. Let us bet." Ekene smiled faintly. "Let her come. I am ready." At 10:40 a.m., the wedding was in full swing. Guests were seated and the ushers welcomed everyone. Then the front door swung open. Lo and behold, Chioma entered wearing a black gown, completely off the dress code, and a matching head tie the size of a satellite dish. The music stopped briefly. Some guests turned and rolled their eyes. Auntie Martha sighed, and here comes drama. Chioma walked to the third row and sat with her shoulders high and her eyes full of thunder. She scanned the crowd until her eyes landed on Ekene. He looked away. Just as the MC began the ceremony, Chioma stood up slowly and shouted, "Stop! I can't let this wedding go on." She turned to the crowd and started to cry like a Nollywood queen. "This man is my husband. We are not divorced. This is adultery in broad daylight. This marriage is a fraud." Everyone looked confused. Chioma continued, "You people think I am crazy, Abi? But I suffered with this man and now he wants to dump me for one cleaner that used jazz." Bah! A slap cut her short. Auntie Martha had marched to the front and and giving her a hot ancestral slap. You will not insult Adaeze. Do you hear me? That girl has been the reason Ekene didn't commit suicide all these years. You better behave or security will drag you out. Chioma staggered. Did you just slap me? Yes, and if you try nonsense again, you will get round 2. Ekene stepped forward and took the mic. Ladies and gentlemen, please forgive this disruption. Let me say this clearly. Yes, Chioma and I were married, but we are no longer emotionally, spiritually, or even traditionally joined. Her bride price had been returned by her parents, so I have no idea why she came back to claim a trophy she never polished. He turned to Chioma. You didn't lose me today, Chioma. You lost me long before the money came. Chioma couldn't move. She stood there, humiliated, surrounded by guests. Her black gown now felt like charcoal on her skin. Then her legs gave out and she fainted. Security gently lifted her and carried her out of the hall. The wedding ended with fireworks, live music, and happy celebration. But Chioma's world was now dark, quiet, and empty. The hotel she stayed in for weeks had finally locked her out. Madam, you have exceeded your grace period though. We need our balance, the receptionist told her coldly. So, Chioma packed her things, 2 bags, mostly clothes she hadn't worn in weeks, and dragged them onto the streets. She arrived at her mother's compound in Nsukka with no announcement. She looked nothing like the fire-spitting diva of Lagos. She drops to the floor. Mama, I have come home. I have nowhere else to go. Her mother looked at her daughter pitifully. I warned you. I told you that this your mouth will lead you to shame. I know, Mama, I know. Her mother took her inside, made her bathe, and fed her. But the scolding never stopped. Chioma tried to revive her online makeup business, but most of her old customers had moved on. Some of them blocked her while others ignored her. She applied to boutiques, salons, and makeup houses, but the story had already gone viral. Former Lagos slay queen crashes ex-husband's wedding, and nobody wanted drama in their business. So, left with no choice, she sold some of her designer clothes for cash and started a small salon in the village, where she started braiding children's hair in the neighborhood for 300 naira per head. She called it Chi Beauty Palace, but everyone in the village just called it that Lagos woman's place. Her customers were mostly secondary school girls and pregnant teenagers who agreed to pay 300 naira for single braids and 500 naira for fixing. On good days, she made 2,000 naira, while on bad days, she just sat under the mango tree in front of her shop, chasing flies off her mirror. Thinking of it now, whenever she thought of the man she had once called an animal, she would laugh at herself because only now did she realize that she had been the real animal. She just didn't know until it was too late. Thank you for watching this story. Kindly share your thoughts about this story with me in the comment section. What lessons did you learn from the story? Please share the story out with your loved ones. Give the story a thumbs up also, and subscribe to this channel if you've not done so by now. Until I bring another story your way. Bye!